Hello and welcome to this week's pet pairing, which is going to be what I consider to be like video number 3 in a series which doesn't really exist. I haven't really made it a series, but I've sort of done this video for the past 2 years because I've always participated in Anna Louisa's Mother's Day campaign, which is also the case today. And it's always nice when I do this video that I also like center the chatty get ready with me part on something related to motherhood. And I've always enjoyed doing this video. I think the first year I did it, I talked about 5 favorite things about my 5 favorite moms, and then last year I talked about, I don't know, controversial topics about motherhood, especially young moms that are not really talked about a lot. And this year I want to talk about lessons that I have learned from my mom that I would like to teach my son. I think a lot of you are already very well familiar with Anna Louisa because I ramble about their pieces quite a bit. I include them in my yearly rankings. I basically wear them all the time, so it's really no secret to anyone that I really love their pieces, and I wanted to share the new pieces that I received for them for this Mother's Day campaign, starting with these beautiful earrings that I'm wearing at the moment. So these are, I will put the names of everything that I'm talking about on the screen because I don't know them off the top of my head, but these are like little like chains, and the chain part goes through your ear and then it ends here with, and I don't know whether you will be able to see, let me zoom you in a little bit. I thought that this would be sort of like a flat piece, but it is indeed a little bit like barrel shaped, and it is so cute. And I just love, you know, how they dangle and how they fall, and I feel like they're so elegant. I'm unfortunately not going to wear them today. I just really wanted to show them to you because it's still really cold in the Netherlands, and I have to wear my big fluffy scarf, and unfortunately these kind of like get tangled on my big fluffy scarf, and I've almost lost one of them, and I absolutely do not want that to happen. So unfortunately, beautiful ladies, you're going to have to wait for warmer days when I don't have to wear my stupid scarf. So I'm going to put on the other pair that I have from them, which are absolutely beautiful. And at first I wasn't sure, are they maybe a little bit too much and too flashy for my taste? But then when I put them on, I feel like they do look quite classy, so I'm very curious. Let me know what you think about it. It's these gorgeous little hoops here. Let me put them on. So these are the little hoops. They're quite thick and they have like little white stones, and they're like intertwined between like solid smooth pieces with the little like pieces that have the stones on them. And I just think they're really pretty. And I don't know, once I put them on, I don't find them to be too much. Obviously also the rest of the stuff that I'm wearing is also from Anna Louisa. I think you've seen me wear this ear cuff piece pretty much in every video for the past few months because we have been like this. And last but not least, I love their rings, and the one that I want to show you today has the most beautiful stone on it. Isn't that just gorgeous? Depending on the light and how the light hits it, like the little turquoise stone can like flash a little bit more green or a little bit more blue, and it is just beautiful. I'm not gonna wear it today because I'm wearing my mint green pants, so obviously my mint green ring fits much better with it. A little note that I want to make about the rings though. You should, if you purchase their rings, you should go on the website and you should follow the instructions they give you to not really like wash your hands a lot with these rings. I am a bit of a brute, and unfortunately I have the kind of job where I have to wash my hands a lot. I have to wear gloves, I have to spray my hands with sanitizers and ethanol all the time. So unfortunately some of my rings have deteriorated a little bit in quality. For example, my little rope here, the gold plating came off quite fast, so I will recommend that you follow their guidelines and like don't wash your hands a lot with them. I have a lot of them that have survived the trials and tribulations of my hand washing 50 times a day pretty well, but some of them have not, so just a fair warning. Their earrings remain exactly the same for me. They have not moved in quality. Alrighty, let's start applying some makeup and chatting about the lessons that I have learned from my mom, taking my Inglot eyeshadow keeper. So, my mom is going to turn 70 in a few months. We're going to Sofia, to Bulgaria, to celebrate together. And my mom is a remarkable woman. I think that without her support and without her always pushing me to be a better version of myself, I may not have gotten super far in life. So the first and most important lesson, I think, and also one that I feel like is not just important, basically speaking, as a human being, but especially as a human being in the year of 2023, in the 21st century, as you know, our children grow up in the era of the internet. I'm going to take my Too Faced Fluff and Hold Laminating Brow Wax. Don't be a sheeple. So when I was younger, whenever I would, you know, go home and tell my mom that I've done something or said something because someone else at school or one of my friends did or wanted or whatever, she would always tell me that just because someone else thinks, says or does something, that does not make it true, does not make it the right way, and I should always, no matter what, try to think for myself. I think you can easily see how that lesson translates very easily into our culture now and our society in the 21st century, especially with the abundance of information and sadly misinformation that's floating around. Ever since Nicola was born, I feel like the most important lesson I want to teach him is to not follow blindly people on the internet or people outside into society, but to always do his own research so that when he makes up his mind, it is based on information and facts that he has gathered diligently. And obviously one of the biggest tasks that I will have as a mom is to teach him how to filter information out of the sea of misinformation out there. For my foundation today, I'm going to take my little Lisa Eldridge sample card and I'm going to use this shade Light 5, which is this one here. The second lesson that I have learned from my mom is to try and stand up for myself. And that is a lesson that I think I've come a long way with, but not as far as I would like to, and I would like to teach Nicola to do it as well. Basically, I want to teach my son not to be a pushover. I think I've been, or I used to be, much more of a pushover in my earlier years because I was really shy. I would never really talk to people I didn't know. I would always be like, okay, you know, whatever you want. I don't like, especially coming from a Eastern European country where things are still very hierarchical. And when I moved to the Netherlands, first of all, I realized that I will have to, you know, become a little bit more open and, you know, carry myself with a little bit more self-confidence if I want to meet people and make friends. But also I landed in a society which is so much more, I feel like, confident than we are in Eastern Europe. I see a lot of Dutch people talk to their bosses and supervisors as if they're equals, but to this day I really struggle with that. I've come a long way, and I think Nicola is very lucky that he's going to grow up here, so he's going to, you know, have a head start in the sense that he already is growing up in a society which is much more confident and much more able to basically just express their opinion. Because the matter of fact is, if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will do it for you. So you need to be able to stand up for yourself and for the things that you think are right. Otherwise, you're always going to be silent. You're always going to have so many things to say, but you will be muted by your own insecurities, which I think is really sad. So I want to do my best to nurture this like self-confidence, obviously not arrogance, but self-confidence that will allow Nicola to not let other people walk all over him. Because modern world is very fast-paced, modern world is very competitive, it is very much modeled on the North American culture and mentality and a way of thinking. So you have to be equipped to stand up for yourself. That's basically the whole point of this rambling. I feel like my under-eye circles are looking pretty under-eye circly, so I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury corrector in the shade Fair and just apply the absolute tiniest bit to cover up a little bit of that darkness while we talk about the third lesson that I have learned from my wonderful mom. And that has to do with motivating your child to do better at school. I will just give you examples because I don't really know how my mom did it and I don't really know how I'm going to approach it, but For example, I was never really like, I always did pretty well at school. I was never really someone who struggled to learn. When I went home, like in Bulgaria, the scoring system goes from 2, which is the lowest, to 6, which is an excellent grade. And let's say that my grades always gravitated between 5, which is very good, and 6, which is excellent. And very rarely I would have something below. But let's say I went home with a grade very good instead of excellent. My mom had her way of saying it like, oh, but why not excellent? And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh my god, she probably traumatized you and made you feel like insufficient and like you're not good enough. That is precisely the point. She didn't. I don't know how she did it, but she would always say these things that would make me feel like, oh damn it, I know that I can do better. And I think underneath it all was probably the message that I shouldn't do better for her. I shouldn't do better to make her proud. Obviously, that is a big factor. You obviously want to make your parents proud, or at least I've always felt like I wanted to make my parents proud because they've put so much effort, time, and emotion into making me the best version of myself. Of course, I want to make them proud. But I think the bottom line was she would always somehow convey the message that I shouldn't have good grades for her. I should have good grades because I think that makes me better, that will improve my life, and it will give me better opportunities in life. Because having good grades, I'm sorry, I'm just like rambling for far too long here. Because having good grades only for the sake of your parents is really, if you think about it, the wrong motivation. If your primary motivation to do better at school is to make your parents proud, then you are at some point bound to crash and burn. But if you're doing it because you think, oh, I'm going to, you know, be smarter, I'm going to know so much more, I'm going to do so much better in life, and I think that's something that at least Eastern European parents teach their kids a lot, like, you do well in school and then you will do really well in life. So you have this intrinsic motivation that you want to study and better yourself because it will help you have a better life when you're an adult. Let me quickly powder my face with my Gucci finishing powder. Alright, let's do a little bit of bronzer. I'm going to grab the shade Desert Glow, which is one of the new bronzers from McGrath Labs. This is the one that supposedly has a little bit of pearl to it. I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I see the pearl or that it translates the same way that maybe Desert Orchid does, which has a bit of pearl to it, and I think you can see it. I don't know. The fourth lesson that I have learned from my mom, which can basically be summed up into don't be lazy and don't be a whiner. So if there's anything that I have learned from not just my mom, but like also like both of my parents, is to be hardworking, because nothing will be served to you on a silver plate, or at least in my life, in my reality, that was not the case. This is a really nice warming color. I really like that. Anyway, so coming from these like, I don't know, modest, humble beginnings, my parents were just hardworking people. They just, you know, had to go through the grinder of life and work really hard to get to where they are. And they kind of wanted to install that very same like work ethic in me. And I always have to laugh at like one specific thing that my mom really likes to say or liked to tell me whenever I would like start whining about being tired. Obviously when you're like 14, 15, there's really very little that you're concerned about, and there are very little actual reasons for you to be tired. So she would always tell me that when I told her that, oh, I'm so tired and I need rest, she would be like, you'll rest when you're dead. You're probably getting from this whole story that my mom is a bit of a spicy meatball. And she certainly is a spicy meatball, but I love her for that. Anyway, for blush, I'm going to be taking the beautiful Desert Orchid. Since we were talking about it, I all of a sudden had the strong desire to wear it. Okay, this next one might not be just specific to my mom, it might be a Eastern European thing, because I've heard from more people coming from like my region of the world that their parents and grandparents are like this. But let me tell you something, we do not like waste, okay? Throwing away food is one of the worst things you can imagine for my mom. And the way I was taught is, you know, when you're younger, obviously you don't pay for yourself, you pay, your parents pay for your expenses, so food, clothes, you know, resources like electricity and water, they're being paid by your family. And I think a lot of like children, especially if those children are not made aware of how life works, are under the impression that all of these things are for granted, when in fact your parents have worked really hard in order to earn a salary, in order to provide you with those privileges. And my parents, once again, they didn't do it in a way that would make me feel guilty or something, but I was always made deeply aware of the fact that being wasteful is just disrespectful to all the hard work that they have put into, you know, earning those privileges for me. And I was always made aware of the fact that there are definitely people around the world who have it worse, who don't have enough food, who don't have enough clothes. So you will never see me nonchalantly throw away a steak. And I would like to install that kind of mentality also in my son, especially because his circumstances in life honestly are better than, you know, a lot of children in previous generations, even my own. Unfortunately for him, or fortunately for him, he was born in a world of overabundance and overconsumption. And you and I, both here on this platform with consuming beauty content, we know what overconsumption is. I'm going to take Golden Nectar from McGrath Labs to highlight my cheekbones. And I definitely don't want him to think that just because we have means and he can have a lot of things, he should be disrespectful about it. I think he should be made aware of the fact that he's very lucky, that he's born into circumstances which allow him to live a very comfortable life. I will admit that one will be very difficult though, because how do you explain to someone that there has been a time, or there are children who cannot have as much as he have, when he just does without really doing that much for it? So that one is going to be a really hard one for me, and I really have to think how I'm going to approach this, because I definitely don't want him to grow up like a spoiled brat. I love showering him with everything. I love giving him everything. I love seeing his face light up when we buy him a new Lego, but sometimes I also think, damn, this guy is going to grow up to be such a spoiled brat if we continue like this. Alright, I'm going to spritz my sponge here with a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm going to basically melt all the powders on my face together. Alright, you're nice and zoomed in, and let's quickly talk about the makeup look that I'm going to be doing today. So I have not 100% decided on what I'm doing, so we're kind of just going to go with it. But I'm first going to put my beloved statuesque through my crease. The idea is that I'm going to wear the gorgeous Citrine Envy over here all over my lid, because I'm wearing my green pants and I would really like to have a green eye. I am going to be doing some sort of a layering, but I have not decided exactly what I'm going to wear. I'm going to try it on the back of my hand in a bit. So for now, we're just going to start off with the easy steps, which is going to be the crease color and the deepening color. So going into statuesque to apply through my crease. While discussing the last lesson, or the last that I can think of for now, I'm sure that I can think of a lot more, but the last lesson that I have learned from my mom, and that is that nothing, and I repeat, nothing in life is more valuable than your health and the health of your loved ones. Obviously, my parents would have loved to have more, you know, financial means, and that would have made their life significantly easier and significantly better. But what I was always taught is that money is all fine, but you can always earn more money, but you can never earn more health. And because I used to be a little bit of a sickly child, my mom worried about me a lot. And I mean, I would not wish for any child to learn that lesson because they've had, you know, health problems as children. I would rather Nicola does not at all have to learn this through personal experience, but I would like him to know that it is very important to cherish being healthy over pretty much everything else in life. Everything else in life you can figure out, you can solve somehow, but your health is above everything. And I would love to hear about the lessons that you have learned from your mom that you have applied in your own, you know, parenting style. I know a lot of you are, you know, either moms of young children or you have grown-up children. We come from different generations, and different generations are also going to have like different values because their reality was very different. So I am very, very curious to hear about all of your experiences, because I think we can have such a wonderful discussion about it. Alright, I'm going to grab just the tiniest bit of this dark brown shade from Celestial Odyssey here, and apply the tiniest bit of that as a sort of like smoked out liner here in the outer corner of the eye, but I don't want to have too much. I just want like a hint of that to create a little bit of definition, but not going overboard. I have the terrible habit of going overboard with my dark shades, and I want to prevent that today because I don't want that. On a completely different and unrelated note, I wanted to give you an update on the Venusian bronze, or whatever it's called, the new quad from Pat McGrath Labs. I'm sad to say there's a very high chance that you will not be seeing this quad on my channel at all or in the near future, because Pat McGrath's abysmal shipping has struck again. I received a notification for the shipment of that quad on April 10, the day that they were supposed to start shipping them out. And I was like, great, this is going really well. I'm going to have the quad by the end of the, you know, next week or something. And then I waited. I didn't really get a notification from DHL, which is usually what happens once something has been shipped. I get a notification from DHL that it's on the way. Didn't get a notification from DHL, thought that was a bit weird. Checked the tracking, nothing had actually happened. I'm going to take a little bit of my NYX glitter glue. So then I wrote to customer service, and they were wildly unhelpful, because they were like, yeah, you should allow a bit of time for, you know, the tracking to update. And I was like, that's exactly the problem. It's not updating already for 7 days. They didn't respond to that. So then I waited a bit more, and I think that the day after I received another tracking number, a new shipping notification for the same quad. Okay, they sent me 2 separate shipping notifications with 2 separate tracking numbers for the same product, which is already unnecessarily confusing and irritating. And then I waited again for at least 5 or 6 days. At this point it's been a week. Yet again, nothing is happening. And I fucking lost it. 2 days ago I wrote them an email and I was like, listen, just give me my money back, save someone the trouble. On a happier Pat McGrath note, I'm now going to take Citrine Envy on my finger and just whack that all over my lid. So I got really mad and I wrote customer service an email, like I said, demanding my money back, and I told them to keep their quad because I've lost all desire to own it. So they have not responded yet, but I think the chances are high that they're going to refund me the money and I'm not going to get that quad. So unfortunately, I have no plans to be purchasing that quad for now, because I was able to purchase it with 20% off on launch date because I had this discount code from one of my friends at work that I don't know whether it's going to work out. And right now I'm so annoyed that I don't even know if I really want that quad. So I'm going to let things settle down a bit, wait for the sale, possibly even wait for the quad to come to the Netherlands, to Douglas, wait for a 25% off sale there and maybe purchase it that way. So yeah, it is a bit of an unfortunate update. It's absolutely not how I wanted this to go, and I'm really, you know, I'm really disappointed that it had to go that way. But at this point I think this is absolutely preposterous. Can you imagine if I hadn't requested my express shipping costs back, if I hadn't, like my mom taught me, stood up for myself and requested my money back? I would have paid 17 euros for a product that is not here 1 month later. Just tell me, in what universe, Anyway, that's the update I wanted to give you because I haven't really mentioned anything about it, and a lot of you are probably waiting to see that video, so I just wanted to give you a heads up that very likely there isn't going to be a video, or if there is a video, it's not going to be anytime soon. I'm sorry. So the thing is, I haven't really worn VR Pink from the Subversive palette in a while, so I thought that maybe it would be fun to put a VR Pink over top of Citrine Envy. So that's what you're seeing right here on the one half of the swatch from Citrine Envy. And then I had the even more brilliant thought, what if I were to put Astral Luna White from the Midnight Sun, the Bronze Seduction palette over top of Citrine Envy? That would be pretty sick as well. So now I can decide what I want to do, and when I don't know what I want to do, I just do like a little swatchy swatch like this on the back of my hand. I admire it for a hot minute and then I decide what I want to do. You know what I think? The VR Pink looks very interesting. Or you know what, we can just put all of them. Why am I even making this an issue? We can just put all of them together. Okay, I'm going to grab VR Pink from Subversive, so that's this shade here. And I'm going to use my finger to work it in together with the shade Citrine Envy, so that the two sort of look like they're one eyeshadow, but when I shift my head you see like different glimpses of different colors. And now I'm going to grab a few specks of Astral Luna White from Bronze Seduction, and I'm going to put those over top of everything. Oh, that is nice. Out of all the champagne shades, I think the one from Bronze Seduction is my favorite for the inner corner, because it is a little bit more golden toned compared to the others, which are more pink toned. So I'm going to whack that here in the inner corner of my eyes. And I'm going to finish the look really, really simply by applying a little bit of statuesque on my lower lashes. That will pretty much be it for today's look. I finished it quite simply with the Affair gloss from Lisa Eldridge. I talked so much, my mouth is so dry that I couldn't even bear the thought of actually wearing the lipstick. I just wanted something soft and hydrating on my lips. I also really need to drag my butt to work now, but I'm super curious what you thought about this look. I am very curious what the lessons are that you have learned from your own moms that you apply in life, and if you would like to chime in on that topic, I would love to hear it. Don't forget to check out Anna Louise. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!